welcome back. We are your trans and non-binary and LGBTQ plus liberation officers, and we are today discussing terms not to use and things just to avoid in trying to be an ally for the trans.
These are your trans red flags.
Woo.
Yay!
To remind you, I'm Jodie, your LGBTQ plus liberation officer. Pronouns they, and this is...
I'm Leon, I'm your trans non-binary officer. Pronouns they, them. Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, so let's get straight into it. Jodie, tell me what is wrong with dead names.
Dead names are just the names of people before they changed them, so I feel like this is pretty straightforward. Don't use them. If you know what they are, then try to avoid it, but if you can't avoid it, then make it snappy with the use and make sure you inform people of their new name.
Yeah, like, we were talking about this before, there's like nuance in it. There's a few things that sometimes you may have to use it. Obviously in medical situations, if someone's legal name hasn't been changed yet, or like if someone knows a person but doesn't know their new name, you might have to be like, you might have to like clarify things, but basically avoid them as much as possible.
And if you hear even someone using the wrong name, the dead name, then try and correct them. Unless that might put you in danger, then maybe hold
or
back.
the person themselves. It's essentially, don't use them unless the person's not out as well. Sometimes people will only be using a new name with a small group of people, and that name is not fully dead. But as much as possible, take that name to the grave.
Yes.
Yeah.
Leon,
Yes.
tell me about passing privilege.
Okay, so passing privilege is the idea that the more you pass as a particular group, the better off you are. There's a lot of examples of this, like trans women who looks more feminine is considered to be more passing. People who are like more androgynous, for example. I mean, it transcends into like other intersectionalities as well, like race. Essentially, the reason we bring it up is avoid going into it too deep. As a trans ally, it is not your business whether someone passes or not. And a lot of the time, people put way too much emphasis on this. People's goal doesn't have to be passing in order to be valid. You can have someone who's non-binary and dresses very femme or very masc. They don't have to be non-binary in the terms of also looking androgynous. They don't owe you anything. And just as a trans woman doesn't have to be wearing a dress all the time, they don't owe you that. So basically, ignore passing privilege. Like, passing is not your thing. The only time it can come up, if someone is worried about passing, and you know they are passing really well, like you can reassure people, but otherwise, scrap that from your dictionary.
Next red flag is making a trans person explain everything. Like, if you're really close with a person, then sure you can go into more details, but sometimes some things just don't need to be shared, and it might be too soon for them to explain it, so just keep in mind.
Basically, don't use your friends as Google. Google is an amazing resource and can do a lot. When you're asking people about things that they are like intrinsically related to, like their identity, it puts a lot of emotional work on people. There's so many resources out there. You've got us. You can come talk to us, or whoever your current officers are if we're no longer here. There's great resources like books and stuff, and even right here on the Subaru Allyship Hub. So make use of those.
They were your tips, so bye-bye.
Bye.